Ahoy crew members, today we've got Jessie Lee Peterson sitting down with Professor Briggs, and as always, things escalate fast. I'll pause along the way to point out logical fallacies, rhetorical tricks, and a few historical leaps that don't quite stick the landing. If you enjoy breakdowns like this, hit subscribe, and let's get into it.
With me, Professor Sheila Briggs, Associate Professor of Religion and Gender Studies at USC. Thank you so much for coming here today. What is the purpose of Women's History Month?
Women's History Month. One of the big problems that any group has that in some way has been oppressed is they lose contact to their history.
You are a professor, associate professor of religion and gender studies at USC. Are you a Christian?
Yes.
You're a Christian. Mm-hmm. What is gender studies?
So gender is something that it's a key part of a person's identity, and it's not something, it's the same as with race, it's not something you choose. You know, it's something that you are faced with. It's changeable, but it's a social identity. But we only have individuals in society have to negotiate that.
We only have two genders, and that male and female, right? And so you teach about those two things, male versus female, or male and female. Am I right about that?
Yes.
There's no other gender, right?
Well, gender is actually a rather flexible thing. Now, not our Western culture is a culture like you get a form, it says male, it says female, right. You tick one. But there are some cultures which actually do have more than one gender.
At this point, notice how gender is being treated like a feeling instead of a category. If gender is entirely self-defined, then it stops being useful as an analytical tool. You can't build laws, sports divisions, medical standards, or social expectations on something that changes based on mood or identity claims. And the irony? The moment gender becomes meaningless, all the arguments built on gender collapse with it. You can't say gender is both infinitely flexible and politically decisive. Pick one.
Dirty. You know, you have Madonna dreaming about blowing up the White House. You had women wearing these pink hats.
I'd have loved to have had one, but I didn't have time to make one.
And they're supposed to represent the vagina or something, right? Those hats. Did you want to wear a vagina hat on your head?
You know, there's various stories about that. I think that the hats haven't really got
They said vagina. I asked. I talked to them.
It's from Wyatt. I
right.
think that's. But it's.
Would you have wanted to wear a hat on your head?
If I'd have been able to get one, because I think it was a way of saying, look, we women are here. We are not going to allow our reproductive rights to be taken away. That was one of the major focuses.
But the way normal people saw that, they saw these women as being men haters, you know, family hating, abortion, LGBT, homosexual kind of women. And they displayed themselves in a way where a normal man would never consider marrying them or even associating with them because they were so gross in those rallies.
Look, I was on the streets that day, and there were 750,000 folk here in LA on the streets.
Right.
It was amazing. And like, these were all sorts of people. I mean,
I know, but it was dirty people.
No,
you had Black Lives Matter, you had the radical homosexuals, you had the LGBT.
You think Black Lives Matter is a nasty thing?
Yes. They are worse than the KKK.
You think that Black Lives Matter? So you don't think that Black Lives Matter?
I think they need to be gotten rid of. They are worse than the KKK, and we're going to tolerate Black Lives Matter.
You think that the Black Lives Matter is worse than the KKK?
Yeah, absolutely.
Why?
Because it's a very radical, agitative, evil organization that is built of radical black lesbians and
but it's
radical,
particularly about protecting young black men.
No, they never went into the black areas at all. Well, black on black crime out of control, and the only thing they did
you sound like you know. Look, black on black crime. This idea that black on black crime is out of control. Yes, black communities have problems, But actually, crime is down in the United States. If anywhere where crime
Well, you need
is
to send
rising,
that notice to Chicago.
is in white communities.
So that's why one of the reasons I say that Black Lives Matter is worse than the KKK, because they're encouraging hatred rather than love. What did you?
There are lots of folk involved in Black Lives Matter. Black Lives Matter is a movement that has come out of the black community, but it's made alliances with lots of groups. If you actually see black...
Well, all evil groups, though, not with good people.
The thing is, you say no, not with good people, but like these are the ordinary folks of America and California. These are people of all ages, all races, all genders, all classes. It's about people coming together to build something better.
Notice how Professor Briggs defends BLM by saying it emerged from the black community and is supported by ordinary folks. That's a genetic fallacy. Where an idea comes from doesn't tell us whether it's true, good, or effective. Bad ideas can emerge from good intentions, and good intentions don't immunize a movement from criticism. If origin determined moral value, then every grassroots movement would be automatically virtuous, and history clearly says otherwise. If BLM policies increase polarization, excuse violence, or undermine public trust, those outcomes matter more than its origin story. Arguments live or die on results, not ancestry.
But would ordinary people chant in a rally, what do we want, dead cops, when do we want it now, pigs in the blanket, fry them like bacon, and right after that, some folks go out and start killing cops?
Look.
Would ordinary people do that?
Black Lives Matter
but
is not about doing...
Would ordinary people do that?
In any political movement, you're always going to have the loonies around.
No, these were the heads of it.
But these are not the people who are the heads of it.
No, I've interviewed them. Take my word, it was.
Yeah, well, this sounds, you sound a bit like Mr. Trump.
Thank you.
Take my word on this.
Yeah.
Even though nobody in Black Lives Matter has been the leadership has ever said anything like.
So you would have worn, had you had a pussy hat, you would have worn it in public at the Dirty Women rally.
You call the dead, but there were all sorts of folks.
But they're all dirty.
They weren't all dirty. Some of the people
You're not
I
telling
saw
me
there,
yes. You don't look like a lady.
There were nuns in habits. There was a local Catholic parish that sent its group to this march, not to the other. Some people from that. There were all sorts of people.
But dirty people. But you tell me yes or no. You would have worn a hat in public.
I would have worn a pussy hat in public.
You would? You're a professor.
For the march. I'm not going to necessarily...
What point would you have wanted to make with that hat?
It was just as any symbol. When you go on a march, it's a way of symbolizing that you are part of the march and part of that agenda.
But you're a Christian and you teach Christianity. Christianity is a noble religion. It's like the light of the world, the salt of the earth. And wearing a hat is not the light of the world.
Christianity is also about justice. Fundamentally about justice. Look, it may be that I'm a Roman Catholic.
Right. That's why I would expect more from you.
I believe, but Roman Catholics, we don't all agree on the same things. But the one thing that joins most Roman Catholics together is our commitment to social justice, to preserving the planet, and to providing justice for all.
Well, that's new. Roman Catholics haven't always been that way.
No, precisely.
They have allowed the hat women to get in there and mess it up.
Well, if that's the way you want to think about it, yes. I mean, hey, I would go with that. Francis is on our side. He's giving women power in the church.
I know.
Yes. He believes in climate change. Yeah.
What a mess, huh?
So, and he doesn't believe that we should throw away people.
Do you think Pope Francis would wear a hat?
No, I don't think that
I
Pope
don't think
Francis
so.
would.
Not just homosexuality.
But everybody.
But he did have something to say about
everybody
it.
is in a
He
fallen
said it
state.
was an offense. God hate that kind of stuff.
Well-
and so he did talk about it. He doesn't like sin anyway, but he definitely didn't like that.
Yeah, but for Jesus, and I think this is one of the huge problems that we have in the modern West, is that we see sin primarily in sexual terms, whereas actually, sexually, that isn't where people sin. Where people sin is in the economic realm, in the political realm. And that's where we need to be talking about sin.
What is sin?
Sin is a turning away from God towards oneself.
So then you would agree with me then on the left, because let's say that, I don't know what you said is right about the right, but the left, you would agree that they have already turned away from the true God, and their God is Satan, their father. Because they live
Look,
every kind
everybody,
of,
look,
their father's the devil, right?
Correct political belief is never going to,
But I'm asking
protect
you, the ones on the left, is Satan their father?
Look, no.
Satan's not their father?
Satan's not their
Well, how are
father.
they able to be so mean and nasty and do all these weird things and wear hats on your head and want to blow up the White House everywhere? Because we had girly men lying to us. The real deal came. I do want to go back to what sin is. I agree with you that sin...
I mean, you have a really weird idea of girly men.
What do you mean?
I just mentioned pretty, war veterans, pretty...
Trump is not a girly man. Sheriff Clark. You know who Sheriff Clark is, right? Not a girly man.
So, but you're...
The sheriff from Arizona, Arpaio. Not a girly man.
Being
Obama, girly man. A feminist, first feminist president.
A girly man for you is somebody who likes being basically mean to other people. I did my graduate studies in Germany in the 70s, just at the period when we began to explore in Germany how they'd ended up with Hitler. So I've never in my lifetime seen anything like this, but I have read about historical processes.
And are you comparing the president to Hitler?
I think that we are in a very dangerous situation
are you
with this
comparing
man
the president to Hitler?
Because he is beyond everything that has been normal within politics.
Are you comparing the... You're not answering. Let me ask this because of time. Are you comparing the President Trump to Hitler?
You talk about left and right, but we are no longer in a situation where the labels left and right make much sense.
Let me ask, are you comparing the president to Hitler? You didn't answer that yet.
I am comparing...
Give me a yes or no.
I am comparing it's not about individuals. It's more about you and people like you.
Now let's talk about the Hitler comparison, because this is a classic Mott and Bailey maneuver. Professor Briggs says, I'm not comparing Trump to Hitler, but then immediately compares Trump's supporters, rhetoric and social climate to 1930s Germany. That's the trick. You retreat to a softer claim when challenged, but still smuggle in the original accusation emotionally. If the comparison is valid, defend it directly. If it's not, stop gesturing at it. Invoking Hitler is the rhetorical nuclear option. Once you drop it, you don't get to pretend you're just having a neutral historical discussion. That move poisons the conversation and replaces argument with insinuation.
You talk about being, occasionally about love, but you seem to be filled with hatred, with...
You're judging me.
I am judging because you...
But you shouldn't judge, you're a Catholic.
Because you are actually talking about... You're so happy that the left is suffering.
I am. I'm rejoicing.
You're so happy that the mother who's an undocumented alien is being deported to Mexico. You're so happy about...
I didn't say that, but I am happy.
You seem to be... And that is
I
how
do want the illegal sent back, but...
This is how civilization breaks down. It's not because of one person. Again, let me say it. You cannot blame Trump for becoming president. You cannot blame Trump for being elected
Right,
president.
we voted for him.
Yes, and that's it. You can blame the people
Right.
who voted for
Thank
him.
God. So let me
Then
ask.
you are the people who are responsible, not for Trump's actions, not Trump himself.
Let me ask, are you
whatever he does.
comparing the President Trump to Hitler? Give me a yes or no on that.
I'm comparing the situation we are in now to the
No, I
situation.
ask you, had you ever seen a real man prior to Donald Trump and you went way back and pulled Hitler out of the grave? So I'm asking you, are you comparing President Trump to Hitler? Yes or no?
I'm comparing our situation now with what happened in Germany in the 1930s.
But why would you bring that up when I ask, had you seen a real man prior to President Trump? Why would you bring up Hitler?
What I am pointing to is not precisely. It's not. We tend to focus on the individuals, but the real perpetrators of the evil are not the individuals.
You're not answering my question.
It's their followers.
But why did you bring up Hitler when I asked about, had you seen a real man prior to President Trump? You went back and brought up Hitler. Why?
Because in the 1930s,
So you're not comparing him to Hitler, right?
the supporters of Hitler used exactly the same language of, like, he's the real man.
Well,
and
we saw that with Obama,
these were the people who actually, in the end, committed the atrocities. It's not, you can't ever blame one person.
So
you actually
are
have
you
to look
saying
at the
that the
followers.
people who voted for President Trump are Hitler-like people?
It's not about an individual.
I don't know what you're saying, though. I don't know why you would, with a good man like him, I don't know why you would bring up
become talking about other people as nasty. You're glad that they're suffering, and how that creates a mindset in which you become capable to commit any act against other people.
Did you see that happening with Barack Obama? The people who voted for him and supported him, they went total radical on us and nearly destroyed the country. Would you compare them to the people who voted for Hitler as well?
No,
The
because
folks
under
who voted.
Obama, the economy was rebuilt, unemployment went down.
That is not fair.
That
not being
people's
honest.
wages began to rise.
No.
All right, crew, we'll slide out there. What you're seeing isn't careful reasoning. It's emotional framing, loose definitions, and historical analogies used as weapons instead of tools. If you enjoy cutting through that kind of fog, hit subscribe, drop your thoughts in the comments, and we'll do it again next time. Take care.